Hello, the internet. I have 250, 240 pieces of brass to reload today, starting with putting primers in. So let's see if I can make a video and not pop any primers in front of you, huh? Should be simple enough. Today we're going to talk about pretty much most of the topics to do with money and how they correlate to our industry, right? Talk about shills. We're going to talk about buying quality gear versus cheap gear. We're going to talk about planning realistically. And we're going to talk about consumerism and its effect on you and how you should fight it, okay? So first of all, let's talk about shills. Everybody is making money on YouTube or social media in general. And how crazy is that, right? I was just talking to my girl about this today. Like literally 10 years ago, it didn't exist. Right? People making money off social media was not like a widely known thing 10, 15 years ago. And now it's like the thing that all the kids want to do, the thing that makes you the most money for the common man, right? the thing that anybody remotely ambitious is forced to do on some level. Pretty interesting. So everybody's making money on the internet, and just like most people suck morally and ethically, most people suck at being moral and ethical at making money on the internet. So things to look out for. Anytime you see all of a sudden this product, everybody's trying out the Ruger XM, the new Ruger Glock. Everybody's got Arcane optics. That's crazy. Just yesterday I saw some abomination of a fucking bullshit, cheap ass, hideously large 20-year-old technology night vision optic, like night vision scope, and I saw like 3 or 4 popular gun slop tube guys, like all of a sudden in the same day, have it on their guns. Like, crazy. Wow. I guess it's such a good product. All the popular people decided to get it at the same time. What's that? Palmetto State Armory dropped a new gun, and all the popular YouTubers are reviewing it? Wow, it must be so good that they all decided to go out and buy it. Nope. I know a lot of you already know this, but if you haven't clued in, right, they're getting given that stuff. And even if they're not told, hey, you have to do a good review, the idea is that if you shit all over this product, I'm probably not going to send you more free stuff that you get to keep and you get to make a video on that then a bunch of people will watch and you get to make ad revenue off and all that shit, right? So anytime you see a product being reviewed by everybody, be aware shillery is afoot. Right? You have to at least take that with a grain of salt. Maybe it is a good product, but those reviews that you're watching, all 400 of them that came out the same week, the same month, they're probably not being super honest with you, even if the product is good. All right. So I think that's a big one I wanted to touch on shills. I personally find it pretty fucking annoying when everybody spends half of their 12-minute video is a 3-minute intro and then 3 minutes of them telling me to like and subscribe and reminding me about their Patreon and telling me that they have a book of poetry available for sale and their girlfriend does an OnlyFans and, right, like, dude, just fucking get to the point of the video of why I'm here. Have like a link tree or whatever. Flash a link across the page that someone can click and take to all that shit or something. Stop fucking inflating all of your videos to hit the exact perfect algorithm time with a bunch of fucking advertisement slop bullshit. Anyways, consumerism. We live in a consumerism market, and that's a whole nother topic, but basically everything is driven, the whole economy is driven off consumption, off you making money and spending money, not saving money. That's why the dollar is set up the way that it is in Keynesian economics. But that effect has a negative effect on several things. One of the things is widespread is it makes people get confused and think that they can purchase ability. That if they buy the best tool, the best equipment, the prettiest dress, the right cosmetic procedure, the coolest car, the nicest suit, that they will amplify their ability, right? That the possession of an item is equivalent to the skill or the ability to accomplish something. And that is 9 times out of 10 not true. Pretty widely and unanimously not true, right? The inverse is true. A true skilled person can accomplish the task even with subpar or lacking tools, right? Because they have the skill to make up for that shit. Yes, a well-equipped professional is going to always accomplish the best job, the easiest, right? And when that job is staying alive, then yes, there is a lot to talk about buying quality gear, which we will talk about in a second. I have plenty of quality gear items. But the idea that if I just spend $100,000 on the Gucciest of stuff, that I will be able to win the gunfight is not a good line of thinking, and it is not correct, right? You need skills, okay? Hate to say it, but the common one I see is people being grossly out of shape, all right? And I'm not talking like, I don't have a six-pack myself. I'm also retired, right? I have kids and, you know, I work and all that. I pay the bills. I understand. But if you can't even run a mile, if you can't even hop a fence, if you can't even wheel a trash can over to the fence to then hop up onto the trash can and hop over the fence, right? If you can't hike around the outdoors, trailblaze a little bit, if you can't swim across a stream, a small river, right? If you can't if somebody comes out and punches you in the face and you can't sustain a 1 or 2 minute long fist fight, then that's what you need to focus on. It doesn't matter what you buy. You're fucking out of shape. And if you're going to do like the prepared thing, whether you're going to fight or whether you're going to run or whatever, you need to get in shape. You need to get in shape. Even if you have some sort of a physical or age limitation, right? That means you're never going to be a stud. Maybe you're in a fucking wheelchair. Your legs literally don't work. Okay, still don't be a fat piece of shit. Be as in shape as you can. Be able to scoot your wheelchair as hard as you can. Be able to hop up out of your wheelchair and use your arms to move your body around and drag yourself up in an emergency situation. If that's who you are and you're going to take preparedness serious, then the number one step is fitness. And there is no excuse. No matter what your limitation is, no matter what your role within that fitness picture is, and I get not everybody's going to be a door kicker. That's fine. Still, fitness is important. You shouldn't be so fucking out of shape that just being in an austere environment makes you at a high likelihood to be a fucking medical casualty, right? Anyways, the point isn't to rag on people that are on their fitness journey. The point is to say if you are stressing and spazzing about needing a fifth rifle or night vision or thermal or whatever, but you're grossly and obviously out of shape and you are not taking the appropriate steps, that's what you should be focused on, not the gear. Cool, so I'll leave that one. And then to the same degree other than fitness, basic skill sets, right? Learn how to land nav, understand how to clear all your basic weapons malfunctions, learn the basics of tactics. There's a plethora of information that you can learn, radios, camouflage, etc., etc. You already know. If you're watching this video, you already know what's up to some extent, right? Learn that shit. knowing how to do that in your brain, that you can't ever lose, can't be taken from you when you get taken an enemy prisoner of war, can't get dropped when you're running from the enemy, because it's in here forever. That's what's more important than a thing that you have. Things are cool. It's cool to have cool things. We'll talk about that in a second. But your ability to perform and the skill set that you have and the, information in your head is way, 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 way cooler than any piece of gear. All right, so, all right, spending money on gear. Why do we do it? What should we do it on, et cetera, et cetera. All right, first of all, the main thing you're doing when you're buying, when you're paying money for gear, when you're buying quality gear, is you're paying for durability. Yes, there's a level of quality that goes along with that, but really the biggest thing you're paying for is the longevity, the durability, and the reliability, right? That this item is going to be able to take field abuse, and it's going to have good quality control, so I don't have to hope that I get lucky and play the warranty game or whatever. I can kind of trust that this item is gonna run good out of the box, and it's gonna run good for my whole lifetime, and it's gonna continue to run good even with heavy field use, right? That's why we buy super expensive stuff. At least that's why you should be buying super expensive stuff. Okay. So if I'm able to accomplish that, if I can do that, if I can have reliable and durable gear for an extended period of time, even with heavy field use, and not spend a bunch of money, then that's what I'm going to typically go with. That's why you see me run a bunch of military surplus nylon gear, because that military surplus nylon gear is extremely reliable and durable, and it's super fucking cheap, right? I can buy UCP, I can spray paint it, and I can RIT dye it, and rub it in the dirt a bunch, and it's going to be just fine camouflage-wise. It's going to hold the items I need it to hold, and it literally cost me dollars instead of hundreds or thousands of dollars. So, at the same time, right, let's talk about the inverse of that, optics. Optics are the most fragile piece of equipment typically on your entire loadout, whether those are like binoculars or thermals or night vision or the actual LPVO, prismatic, red dot, whatever on your rifle. Even durable optics, typically, the reason they're so famous, like the ACOG is it's so durable, oh my God, is because optics typically are not durable. So when you're buying a bunch of money, right, the reason I have high-end optics is because I need that optic to be durable. Now, the other piece that goes into that is mission critical or not mission critical, right? So an optic is mission critical. I really, really need to be able to aim my gun if I want to fight. So I really ought to have a reliable and durable optic, because the optic is mission critical. Therefore, I really probably should, unfortunately, at least on my primary weapon systems, spend the money on whatever the highest end optics that I can feasibly afford are for those guns. Right? Even if that means I have less guns, even if that means it takes longer for me to have them finished out and look cool, I should go ahead and spend a good chunk of change on optics. Let's talk about flashlights. Flashlights are something that kind of run the border, right? In certain scenarios, certain things, they kind of are mission critical, right? I would say like your EDC pocket flashlight kind of is mission critical. There's a lot of times in life and in self-defense situations where you might need to see in the dark, so you need to have a reliable flashlight on you. However, unpopularly, in a tactical setting, I would say less so, right? Is white light important? Yes. Would it be a problem if your entire team or squad was unable to produce white light? Yes. You as an individual team member, if your flashlight goes down and you aren't able to produce white light, are you, I'm fucked, that's it, go home, I'm out of the fight, I'm of no use any longer? No, not at all. Not even close. You're totally fine. 99% of the time, you can just continue to operate the same way. We don't use white light a bunch. So, if you're really penny pinching, you're really scrimping and saving, Save some money on a flashlight. Just don't have a flashlight, or go ahead and that's where maybe you can buy some Chinesium. That's where you can buy a Amazon knockoff, right? If your light goes down in the middle of an operation, is that ideal? No, but it's not mission critical. You can continue to fight. You continue to complete that operation. Okay. Your backpack straps, if your backpack is so cheap that your backpack straps rip, you're pretty good and fucked on that mission, right? So your backpack needs to be quality. Fortunately, we can go to the surplus market and buy a durable and reliable backpack without a bunch of money. See where we're going with all this? Okay, you don't have to buy $400 Cry Precision pants. Are my pants is it mission critical that my pants don't rip and have a million pockets? No. Can I complete this operation in a pair of Walmart jeans? Yes. Is that ideal? No, but it could get the job done. Would a pair of knockoff Cry Precisions or military surplus or hunting pants work just as good? Yeah, pretty much. Pretty close. Maybe not just as good, but work just fine. And it's okay. It's okay. It's not mission critical that we have 42 pockets and multicam on our pants, right? So I'm gonna go ahead and get off the thing, but just to sum that up, right? You should be spending money on mission critical items and making sure that they are durable and reliable. So whatever your mission critical stuff is, decide that, and of that stuff, do not compromise on the durability or the reliability of those options. If you're able to source a durable and reliable option for a cheap price, very well. If not, well, then it looks like, unfortunately, we're going to have to shell over the rubles to get the equipment we need on that one. All right. And then lastly, we're going to talk about plan, responsibility, and realistically, okay? This video isn't about a threat matrix. There's tons of them online. I kind of did one of my earlier videos. But essentially, plan accordingly, right? If you are trying to have enough rifles to equip an entire squad of people, but you haven't put in any effort into food or water purification, you don't have any food storage, you haven't bought a single seed, you don't own a water filter, you're not planning realistically or responsibly, okay? Right? You're not going to be able to fight if you're hungry or thirsty. You're not going to be able to survive the cold night if you don't have the proper warming layers, or the rainy night, right? Whatever, etc., etc. Not a video about all that, but you get the point. Don't just buy gear that you think is cool, and don't buy cheap, shitty versions of cool gear so that your rifle looks cool. Buy quality, durable, reliable gear, and buy gear that is reasonable and you need for realistic scenarios, right? And then plan accordingly. First step, can I defend myself outside of the house? Do I have a pistol? Do I have a pocket knife and a tourniquet and a flashlight, etc., right? Do I have the skills and the mindset to match those things? Next step, am I able to protect my house? When I'm in my home, can I protect my house? Possibly from multiple intruders, right? So we probably need a long gun or whatever, right? Not a video about all that, but this could be had for cheap, right? You could do this with a cheap partner pump, Mossberg 88, $300 shotgun, 12 gauge. Pair that with your police trade-in, $350 Glock. And for not a lot of money, right? We are now protecting ourselves when we're out of the house. We're protecting ourselves when we're in the house. Next, can we survive if we just shut the doors to our house and lock them and don't go anywhere for a week? For 1 week. And now, if we can do that, then can we survive in our house for 1 week if there's no power and no water? Okay. And once we can do that, can we survive for a month in our house with no power and no water? And then after that, you expand that out to about 3 to 6 months. Okay. Once you have 6 months, a lot of people are going to say a year, and there's nothing wrong. More is always better. I think on some things you start kind of fudge the numbers, like water. There's no way you're going to have a year's worth of water on hand. Unless like you're a single guy and you live in the Pacific Northwest or something, right? Anyways. Point being, have some supplies. 3 months, 6 months is my recommendation. Other people are going to recommend a year. That's fine. No argument. Once you have X amount of medium to long-term supplies, you're going to want to switch over to sustainability, right? Do I have the skills and the tools and the raw materials necessary to forever sustain myself? Do I have tools to build things if I'm not able to ever call somebody for repairs? Do I have seeds or animals, right? Chickens, rabbits, tilapia, goats, pigs, cows. Do I have seeds or animals and the skill set to take care of those animals and grow those seeds to feed myself? Et cetera, right? Do I have the last point? Do I have the materials to water filter enough water, the actual amount of water I need? Not just I have I have one life straw for my family of 12 people, and so I have a water filter. No, do I have enough water, filtration capacity, collection and filtration capacity to collect and filter enough water for all the people that I'm going to be in charge of? Okay? Right? That's kind of the end game. And so if you aren't well down that path and have some skill points at least put towards the final stages of it, you probably don't need more than 1 or 2 long guns, 1 or 2 pistols, right? Arguably 1 pistol, 1 long gun, but I'll give you a couple, sure. And you don't need 12 plate carriers and 3 helmets and 6 different chest rigs. Right, be responsible and reasonable with your preparations, right? What's most likely to happen in your life is an individual self-defense encounter, right? Either somebody's going to try to break into your house while you're home, or somebody's going to try and harm you while you're out on the streets, and you're going to have to defend yourself or your property. That's what's most likely to happen. What's next most likely to happen, because that could happen to anybody at any time. What's next most likely to happen is you to experience some sort of short-term, localized problem, right? Power goes out for a week or a month where you're at. There's a natural disaster, a hurricane where you live, whatever, right? Snowstorm, blizzard comes and snows you in. Whatever the case, it's not global, it's not nationwide, it's just your region. Help is coming. They're going to fix the problem. You just have to be able to hunker down and withstand for X amount of days, X amount of weeks. Okay, and then the next most likely thing to happen would be some sort of like loss of monopoly of violence, right? We degrade into sort of like a Latin America type situation, or some sort of a civil war, domestic conflict type situation, where there's not a single cohesive federal government that has complete control of monopoly of violence. So you as a citizen might be forced to have to deal with violence and respond with violence, right? Because it's not a scenario in America like now where no one's allowed to hit each other. Cops come right away, right? Maybe cops don't come right away. So you have to take care of yourself a little bit more. And then the least likely is some sort of like major collapse, right? So the lights go off forever, the internet goes away, the water no longer turns on, nuclear warfare, Russian invasion, right? All that stuff's pretty far-fetched, pretty unlikely. Probably not going to happen to you in your nation in your lifetime. But there's nothing wrong with thinking about those things and planning for those things. I'm not discouraging you from that. I'm just saying that if you're not prepared for like a self-defense encounter or to feed yourself for 2 months, probably don't start worrying about Russian paratroopers and nuclear war yet. Right? Start small, scale it out slowly, be realistic, allocate your funds appropriately. All right, that's what I think. I think that's all I have to say on this one. Thanks for listening. Got through almost 100 rounds.